The two assumptions of the cognitive approach is process through input, process output that is very similar to a computer, and this route is the same in humans, and the other assumption would be that people would have differences in their cognition, such as attention, thinking, and memory. This would explain behavior and emotions.
Cohen focused on how people with autism spectrum disorder, or ASAD, interpreted emotions through facial expressions. They specifically tested theory of mind, which was to see whether or not they could understand what others were feeling or thinking just from their eyes. Baron Cohen, building on the original 1997 Reading the Mind and the Eyes test. However, due to the study's limitation, Baron Cohen decided to develop a revised version to improve the study's accuracy. Baron Cohen had three main objectives. Number 1, to determine if adults with ASD or Asperger's syndrome, otherwise known as AS, would perform worse on the revised eyes test compared to neurotypical individuals. Number 2, to see if the revised test could point out the original flaws. Number 3, to investigate potential differences in performance based on gender and the hypothesis that females would score higher. The study was split into 4 groups. Group 1 was comprised of 15 adults with ASD and AS. Group 2 had 122 neurotypical adults from the general population. Group 3 had 103 students from Cambridge University, and Group 4 had 14 individuals with high IQ but no ASD, which served as the control group. Baron Cohen was a lab experiment with a correlation design. Participants were tested individually in a quiet room. They were shown images of eyes and had to choose the correct emotion from a possible of 4 answers. Participants with ASD, however, had to complete a gender recognition task and an eye development task to ensure visual accuracy in perception. The results of Baron Cohen included: Number 1. Group 1 was found to have performed significantly worse on the eyes test compared to the control group. Number 2. Males scored lower than females. Number 3. There was a negative correlation between autism quotient scores and performance on eyes tests, meaning those with higher autistic traits scored lower. And number 4, males had higher AQ scores compared to females. Conclusions of Baron Cohen. The revised test proved to be a better measure of social intelligence for those with ASD. It shows that both the AQ test and the eyes test could be used to assess autistic traits. And it highlighted the difficulty individuals with ASD faced in reading emotions. Strengths. Baron Cohen had strong internal validity due to controlled variables because of its use of quantitative data, which minimalized researcher bias. There was also no deception or harm done to participants. Weaknesses. In Baron Cohen, there was limitations, such as low generalizability. This was due to there only being 15 participants in the ASD group. The ecological validity was also limited because the eyes test wasn't a realistic way to measure theory of mind in real-life interactions.
The study of Andrade was seeing if doodling can help attention spans or focus of participants or people. Now, the reason that the scientists did start this was to see if daydreaming would lessen if they did have something to do like doodling, or something where their attention can kind of be like an automatic part of their brain. Now, the DB to see if this would work, or to see if it would prove to work, was naming off names from the videos, names, anything like that, anything they can retain from that video. This method was a lab experiment. It had independent measures. The sample was mostly female, so the generalizability was a little bit weak. In the procedure of Andrade, they use a video with a caller with a monotone voice to kind of incite a boring, or more like not as attentive call, which would help improve the doodling as to see if it did still retain focus even if the call was boring per se. Now the result was that the experimental group did 29% better than the control group. So the conclusion would be that the experimental group did do better than the control group, as doodling did improve their attention span. Examples of strengths in Andrade was standardization, as all procedures were the same for each participant, while another strength was ethics, because valid consent and confidentiality were pretty strong in the study. Some weaknesses would be ecological validity, as the whole environment was controlled by the scientists, while another weakness would be daydreaming, as they could not track the data of daydreaming.
Please listen to this recording. Along with this recording, write down any names of the people attending the party. Don't pay attention to any other factors.
Hi, are you doing anything on Saturday? I'm having a birthday party and was hoping you could come.
Now that time has went by, please record the places mentioned in the recording.
Leaky dry, and then to make matters worse, Nikki got her handbag stolen. I was quite glad to get back to work after that. Anyway, hope you can make it on Saturday. Let me know.
Now that some time has gone by, please list the places mentioned in the recording.
The study that is related to the two cognitive approaches is the Pozzuolo study, that is investigating false memory and false positive assumptions. The entire aim of the study is to whether children will be better or worse than adults in identifying cartoon faces and target present lineups. Pozzuolo wanted to determine why the children would say "I don't know" more than adults would, and why they would choose the incorrect culprit. Pozzuolo had chosen to do a lab experiment. The children consisted of 59 children aged from 4 to 7 and 53 adults aged 17 to 30 in the sample. How they created the procedure is by making a video with 4 different clips with no sound and a 2 to 3 second close-up, and made the culprit absent and present within different clips. They made the children test alone and the adults in a group. In the result of the study, they determined that the children were likely to give false positive, and that adults were able to find the culprit more than the children. Pozzuolo had concluded was the error from the children was mainly from social factors. The strength from the study was ethics, since they followed most of them, and reliability, because they kept the same instructions throughout, while the weaknesses consisted of reliability due to the adult versus children circumstances, such as being tested in a group versus being tested alone, and generalizability, since there was no other social background.
Please look at the photos. The cartoon from the video may or may not be here. If you see the cartoon, please point to the photo. If not, point to this box. Please look at the photos. The cartoon from the video may or may not be here. If you see the cartoon, please point to the photo. If not, point to this box. Please look at the photos. The cartoon from the video may or may not be here. If you see the cartoon, please point to the photo. If not, point to this box. Please look at the photos. The cartoon from the video may or may not be here. If you see the cartoon, please point to the photo. If not, point to this box.